Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just Another 20 Something with me, Marissa. Today is an exciting episode, guys. I have one of my friends, Sarah, here, and she is going to tell me all astrology things.
Yeah.
It's going to be super exciting. We're basically going to go over my entire astrology chart. So, if that is something that intrigues you guys, this is the episode that you want to listen to. Hopefully, you can kind of get insight on your own charts and just apply it to your own signs if, we're not the exact same signs. But if we are, then look at that. I'm just helping you guys along. You're welcome. Okay, so Sarah, tell us, how did you get interested in astrology and stuff like this?
yeah. So I'm Sarah. I am a Scorpio. And so growing up, I feel like Scorpio is one of the
You are ready.
Okay. um, so I was talking about how I got into astrology and then we had Wi-Fi issues. Um, uh, okay, so yeah, I'm a Scorpio. My mom's also a Scorpio, so we always would read the newspaper together that had the horoscope section in it. Um, and I just really heavily identified as a Scorpio. I'm just a very intense, emotional, sensitive, investigative person. Um, and so I was always into it. And then apps like CoStar came out, and I was even more into it, but I still didn't really totally understand it. And then in the past couple months during quarantine, I just like really dove into like understanding it and studying it, and listening to podcasts about it. And just like the more you know about it, the more you want to know about it because it's so cool and you can do so much with it and it like blows your mind every time.
Literally.
Uh, yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I've just in the past couple months like have really gone off on it. And I did want to like clarify before we started that I am like a beginner. I'm not like an expert. I think like a lot of astrologers will be like you shouldn't even like give an astrology reading until you studied it for years and stuff like
Uh,
that. And I definitely am not like that.
we
I'm
are
just
just
like doing it
amateurs
for
over
fun.
here.
Yes, just amateurs. But it is like really intense like as a subject, like there's so much to know, so I understand why people are so kind of protective of it, because I think there's like a lot of misconceptions about astrology that
Mhm.
once you get into it is kind of like frustrating, like when people say like I hate Geminis, and I'm like, you hate Gemini suns? Like that is one aspect of their chart, you don't know them, leave Geminis alone.
That's so true. I never really thought about, yeah, because like there's so many memes like on Instagram or TikTok or whatever that are like, oh, I hate blah 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 sign. And it's like, but yeah,
Right.
like that's only like this tiny little bit.
Yeah, it's really it's 1/12 of a person's chart. Like it's an important 12th because it's your sun and it's how you shine and it's yourself and everything, but there's so much more to a person than just their sun sign. So when people kind of use it to rationalize disliking someone or like writing them off just because of what their sign is, it's just like, oh, you don't get astrology. Like that's not what it's about. So like you don't have room to make these like statements that
Right.
all Geminis are crazy and all Scorpios are not going to text you back or whatever, which is like
Yeah.
maybe it's in their first house like me and I really am not going to text you back, but maybe it's in like some other random part of your chart where it doesn't even make a huge impact, and it won't affect you as much as different people. Every chart is so different and has different
Right.
focuses, so
Yeah, because I know like for mine, I think mine is always like I'm super indecisive and I like can't make a decision on anything.
right.
And I'm like, sometimes,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
not like
sometimes.
all the time.
Right, totally. Yeah, yeah, it's cool. I really like your Libra sun, so I'm excited to talk about that.
Yay. Okay, yeah, let's get into it. I'm freaking excited. She sent over an email just going over every single thing and I read it and I was like, guys, this is like way too scary accurate, but I'm excited. Let's get into it.
Yay! Okay, so I figured while I would read it, I would kind of explain some stuff because
Please.
I know that if I could use somebody just saying like the basics of astrology in the beginning, when I was trying to understand it, it would have helped a lot.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So so I'm gonna kind of be in like teaching mode while I talk about it. But a birth chart in like when you get it in astrology, or if you go to like Cafe Astrology online, which is one that a lot of people use, and you get like a list, right? And it says like rising Capricorn, Jupiter, Aquarius, and it's in a list like that. You don't really get to see the full picture of what a birth chart is, because a birth chart is supposed to be viewed in a circle. So
Oh,
I'm showing Marissa hers right now.
we're on Zoom, so she's sharing her screen.
Yeah, I teach English, so all I do is start and share things on Zoom.
This is awesome, though. What the heck?
Yeah. Okay, so this is your birth chart. If anybody wants to follow along with their birth chart, I'm on a website called astro.com. And then you go free horoscopes, you put in your information like any other site, and it gives you this this circle chart that is what a real astrologer would look at if they were reading your chart, and not an app like CoStar or Sanctuary. Actually, I think Sanctuary does give you a circle chart, but it's less common in pop astrology. So this is Marissa's circle chart to Marissa. So the big parts of a chart is that it is in a circle. There's like 12 slices out of it, like a pizza. And each of these slices are a house. And then on the circle, there are these little symbols. One looks like a 4, one it looks like a moon, one looks like the female sign, one looks like the male sign. There's a bunch of these little symbols. And those are the planets. And those were where the planets were in the sky the moment you were born.
That's cute.
Yeah. So when someone says they're like a Venus, they're like a Libra Venus, what they mean is that in the sky when they were born, the planet Libra was in the sign of Venus. So like in just this past month actually is a good example. Everybody was talking about Aquarius all the time. I'm sure you saw that. It was like Age of Aquarius. All these planets were in Aquarius. There were 6 planets in Aquarius. And what that meant was all of the planets in the sky were in one sign, in one house.
Oh, holy crap.
Yeah. So it was really intense in that area. So for me as a Scorpio, it was in my house of homes. And during that time, I like figured out where I was going to live next year. I was like in a fight with my parents, which is also, I'm talking about the 4th house. That's what the 4th house is. I was like really focused on my house here. All of that was like really affecting my 4th house.
Oh my gosh.
Marissa, her Aquarius is in the 2nd house, which is like finances, values, and materials. And I was like, oh, it looks like Marissa's like getting a job or something like that. And I texted her and I was like, are you getting a job? And she was like, yeah, I just got a job. So if you've been listening to the podcast, you guys would know that. I'm sure fans. But that's been a big theme on the podcast, is Marissa's new job. And that all happened while all of these planets were transiting her 2nd house.
Oh my God, that's literally insane.
I know, it's so crazy. Once you understand the fundamentals of astrology, you just can understand your world better. I really liked, I'm going to keep referencing the podcast because I have really just enjoyed listening to it. But when you had Maddie on and she read your tarot cards, she was talking about how like your tarot deck, your spread, when you do a spread, it's supposed to like prompt you to reflect. Like it's not telling you what's going to happen. It's just like asking you to consider these things. And that's kind of what the planets are doing too. So like just because all those planets were in Marissa's 2nd house didn't mean she necessarily got a job or that she like got a bunch of money or lost a bunch of money. But there was just a lot of energy in the air that was in the area of money. And if you saw that and you knew that and you had time to prepare for that, you can see how that could be like a useful tool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm going to have you like tell me what's going on every day so I can prepare.
It's really cool. Once you learn the basics of like understanding where the planets are in the sky, you can like see stuff coming and stuff like that. So it's really cool. So each planet is also associated with a sign. And some are associated with multiple signs, and some it's a bit controversial in the astrology community because there's like old school astrologers and there's new school astrologers, and they disagree about certain planets and signs. But it won't fundamentally change your chart or anything. But just like as I talk about it, sometimes I'll say like a new astrologer would say this and an old astrologer would say that. And that's just because I'm pretty new at reading. So I don't have like one way that I really like more than the other. So I just keep both of them in mind.
Perfect.
Yeah, so let's do this.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so I like to look at it one house at a time because the houses actually build on each other. So the first house is where the sun was in the sky when you were born. So where the sun is in the chart is where like the sun was in like the world basically. So like this is really obvious because everyone that's born in November is a Scorpio, and everyone that's born in October is a Libra, except for those cutoff dates. But we all know the seasons of the sun because the sun moves about one sign per month.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why everybody born in Libra season is going to have their sun in the sign of Libra. But what house it's in depends on what time they were born. So that's why knowing what time you're born is so important, because that gives us your rising and that gives us your houses, because all the houses build off the first house.
Oh.
So your first house is in Capricorn, which means you're Capricorn rising. And this was one that me and Marissa have been talking about because I love rising signs. Rising signs, I think, are kind of a cheat code at astrology. It's like the most information that you can get from one piece of information.
Mm-hmm.
And Marissa has always been like, I don't really get the Capricorn rising.
It just seems weird to me.
Yeah. What about it did you not connect with? I'm just curious.
Well, because
or like, what's your idea of Capricorn rising when you would read about it?
yeah, well, usually when I would look it up, they were like, oh, like they're pretty cold and serious. And I know that that's like your rising is what you come across as. And I was like, I just don't feel like I come across as like cold and serious.
Yes, you definitely don't. And yes, I think there's this kind of idea that the rising sign is like how other people see you. Like that's something you'll see online a lot. I
Mhm.
don't think that really has any astrological backing.
Oh,
It is the sign of the self, but and it does relate to how other people see you. But
mhm.
I think of it almost more as how you see yourself. So when
Oh.
you talk about like how hard you are on yourself,
Mhm.
and your episode about like positive self-talk and how easy it is to like in the beginning you were kind of rambling and you were like, I don't know, maybe some people are mean to other people but I'm just mean to myself. Like that is so Capricorn rising.
Oh,
um
classic.
because and most people, you know, struggle with self-talk, but Capricorn is the sign governed by the planet Saturn. And the planet Saturn is the toughest planet to deal with. It deals with restrictions and responsibilities, maturity, like you said, coldness, like just kind of like um, it's the party pooper of the zodiac. It's the planet that says like slow down and think about it, which nobody wants to do. And it's kind of a dick about it too. Like it'll cause problems in your life, and force you to learn lessons. So even though it is doing a good thing for you, the planet of Saturn is just kind of so annoying. Like it's always a bummer when I get to it in the birth chart because I have to talk about something negative because
Yeah.
it creates negativities in your life. And so for you, that's in your house of the self. Like you really
Awesome.
have a difficult relationship with not understanding yourself, but there's a lot of limits that you put on yourself.
Mhm, mhm.
And you can be really hard on yourself because Saturn is telling you that you need to learn a lesson with your own relationship with yourself, and that's heavy. Like that's not very fun.
Cute, cute of me.
Yes, but what's cool about Capricorn and what's cool about Saturn is we have this big event that happens when we're 29 and a half, where the planet Saturn returns to the point in the sky it was when you were born. And it takes 29 and a half years because it moves really slowly.
Oh,
So since we've been alive, Saturn has only moved to Aquarius. So we're getting close to our Saturn return, but it's still going to be like 6 years for us.
oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, it moves so slow. Um, and it's because it's so annoying. It's just like it doesn't want you to learn a lesson fast. It wants you to like sit with it.
Oh,
And
cool.
so
Saturn.
yeah, so people, one of the like the terms that beginner astrologers learn. So some people might be familiar with it. Is your Saturn return.
Mm.
And when you turn 29 and a half, when it comes back to where it was, you experience your Saturn return. And in whatever area of the chart is, whatever sign of the chart it's in, whatever planets are connected to it, it teaches us a lesson for about 3 years. We kind of go through it from 27 to 30. We like really like experience some obstacle that forces us to mature.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it doesn't sound good so far.
No.
But when you come out on the other side, when you turn 30, you officially enter adulthood. And all the areas in your chart that are affected by Saturn, so anything that's in the sign of Capricorn, which for you is yourself, grows so much and you really step into yourself. So any issues that you've had in the area of Capricorn, any conflict there, it doesn't get completely resolved, but you learn to deal with it through your Saturn return. So for you, it's not like the best news because it's not happening tomorrow, but I can see from the beginning of your chart that when you turn 30, your relationship with yourself is going to improve so much.
Ah, well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, it really is. I think Saturn, I think, is like, it scares people, and I understand why it scares people because people talk about like horrible things that happen, and but I don't think it has to be scary, because if you see it as an opportunity to know yourself better and become an adult, and it gives me kind of peace that I don't have the pressure to be an adult right now because
Oh,
I
that's true. That means I have
like,
what, 7 years until I have to do
yeah,
anything?
yeah, truly. Like until you have to like have shit figured out, because there's no way you can have your life figured out in astrology. There's no way before your Saturn return, because you haven't really become an adult. And that just gives me peace, because I'm like, obviously I still have to be mature and work on being my best self and taking care of myself, but um it gives me peace to know that there's time before I am a true adult.
Oh, yeah, thank God. And honestly, I feel like I wouldn't even feel like an adult until 30 anyway.
Exactly. And I think that's because of the Saturn return. Like it's really connected to it. But
That I
yeah,
love
it's
that.
cool. If you're a person that's getting into astrology, I really recommend you look up some like Saturn return stories and hear about what houses they have Saturn in, and what houses they have Capricorn in, and hearing like, because some people it's just like I don't know, I lost a job and I had to move back in with my parents, and Saturn for them might be in the fourth house like it is for you, which is your parents and your home. Um,
Right.
but like maybe it's in their eighth house and they experience a death because the eighth house governs death. So um
Oh,
it's just like it's a cool beginner thing to look up for yourself.
yeah.
So also in your first house you have the planet Neptune. Neptune is the planet that in modern astrology governs Pisces, and it's all about spirituality, kind of like mysticism, spirituality,
Oh,
creativity, and music. So you have that in your first house of identity.
oh,
So those themes are like really close to how you see yourself and like the best parts of you.
that's really funny. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. So you have in your chart like several times like a huge ability to like lean into your spiritual side,
Oh.
especially through the help of your friends. So that is like really cool. I like that for you.
I like that for me too.
So after the first house, we'll move on to the second house. So the first house is the self, and the second house is our material world. It's money, it's objects, it's our value system.
Beautiful. Give me
Um,
the
what was that?
I said, give me the money.
Yes, yeah. Well, and you have a really, really good placement here.
Oh, good.
So it's in Aquarius, which, like we said, we just had that big Aquarius stellium. We're all feeling our Aquarius energy right now.
Right.
And Aquarius is all about humanitarianism, social justice, creativity, but more less mystical and more like creating new worlds.
Ooh.
Um, it's a cool sign. It's kind of a bit emotionally reserved, but it is interested in unity and interested in a better world. So that's connected for you to your values and your money. And so we have this generational placement of the planet Uranus in the sign of Aquarius. So everyone our age has this sign for about 5 years around our births.
Oh.
And it really gives, because Uranus in modern astrology governs Aquarius, it really gives our whole generation a dedication to social justice, to defying gender norms, defying stereotypes, like bringing down structures of hierarchies.
Yeah.
Because Uranus is all about making a better world and disruption and surprises, and like we all have this like really like rebel spirit in Aquarius.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I know. It's such a cool placement for us. I think it makes so much sense for everyone our ages. Even if you are not a progressive person, you are politically engaged in some way, and that is so Aquarius and Uranus.
Ah, love that. Love that for us.
I know. And then right next to it, you have the planet Jupiter, which is the most positive planet
Oh,
in our solar system. It governs knowledge, expansion, travel, just increasing energy, abundance, luck, gratitude. That's all Jupiter. And you have that in the sign of money. So that is a really good situation for you.
yay.
You might not always be the best at money, but you have a good chance of it always working out in your favor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's, I don't get lazy about keeping track of your money, but know that you're really well taken care of, astrologically speaking.
Ah, thanks, world. I need that.
So the third house is the next one. The third house is our siblings. It's our immediate surroundings, not our house, but our neighborhood, elementary school, being a young person. If we look at the chart so far, we have the self, we have what we have,
Mhm.
and then for the third house, we have our neighborhood, what's familiar to us.
Gotcha.
So you have that in the sign of Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. So connected to your sense of values and your sense of money, you have your sibling. You have this creativity, like a creative sibling, um, uh, a sibling that is a really positive relationship for you because it's connected to Jupiter, which is the most positive planet. Um, and just a bunch of other just cute things is like you probably really love small like short trips. You find them really romantic,
Uh,
and not romantic like boy girl romantic, but romantic like you're just having fun with your girls and you're going
yeah.
on a beautiful day trip to the ocean. Like that is very Pisces in the third house. um, and like a really strong writer, also creative writer,
Oh,
could be something for you to look into because Pisces is all about art, and the third house is all about communication.
that is so
uh,
crazy about the sibling thing. Like, are you kidding?
I
Did you
I
guys?
know, it's wild. I know Joe is a Leo. Do you know like his big three?
Um, oh my gosh, he's gonna hate me because I think he posts about this all the time. Big three. I know it's I think I still have him on CoStar. Oh no, did I delete it? Okay, let me text him. I bet he will respond.
No worries. We can return to the
Yeah, we'll
subject,
come back to that. What's your
but I wouldn't be surprised if there's Pisces involved there,
yeah.
uh,
I know he has
because
Libra as one of them. He's like Leo, Libra,
oh
and
yeah,
I don't know what
that's
the other one
cute.
is.
I
Yeah,
love that.
I know.
Um, but you don't have any planets in this house, and this is something that a lot of like new astrologers will freak out about and be like, I don't have any planets here, it means nothing. Like, does that mean that people don't really freak out about the third house, but like the seventh house is our partnerships. And sometimes people see an empty seventh house and they're like, am I never getting married? Like, am I never finding a partnership?
Yeah.
And that's like not what it means. Because there's still information that we can gather about it because of that Pisces connection. We know that Jupiter is involved. We know that Neptune is involved, which is the planet in your first house of yourself. So we know that your identity is really connected with writing or your neighborhood or your sibling.
Right.
We know that all of that is connected, even though there's no planets in that house.
Now, how do you know
So
that they're connected? Is it one of those lines?
no, it's because each sign is connected to a planet.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I see.
Yeah. So these lines are another thing to look at. But even on the most base level, we know that Pisces is ruled by Jupiter in traditional astrology and
Got-
Neptune in modern astrology. So we know that wherever those are, the houses are going to connect.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
learning more and more.
Yeah, I know. It helps it make so much more sense when someone just slows down and explains it.
Oh my gosh. I try to read all of the stuff that they like
It's
write.
hard.
I literally have no idea what they're saying. And I'm like,
Right. And if you don't know that there's like if you don't know that Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, then you wouldn't see that connection.
oh,
And it wouldn't make sense to you if somebody like didn't explain it slowly. So it's
right.
some of those apps are just like what.
Yeah, it's like, what are you even telling me? I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so the fourth house is the house of your home. Like it's the house of houses. It's of your parents. No, sorry. It's of uh your not childhood, but how maybe you want to parent. It's all about your parents and your childhood home, and also your home now. I hope that I I'm making
Yes.
I got lost there. Um, so for you, it's in the sign of Aries, and this is where you have Saturn. So you have like a difficulty there. That's where you're going to experience your Saturn return. But it could mean so many different things. It could mean like a big move because we're talking about houses. It could mean like a huge shift in your family, like you could get married. All of that is like possible with a Saturn return
Oh,
in the
interesting.
fourth house. And you have that in the sign of Aries, which is like a fast moving, passionate, aggressive sign. So like like family that really cares about each other is like an Aries fourth house thing.
Oh, that's cute. We do really
Yes.
like each other.
And Saturn, like I said, is what rules your whole first house and your whole self. So your family is a huge part of who you are. Like that connection is really, really tight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Accurate.
So the next house we have is the fifth house. The fifth house governs creativity, games and playing, children, and sexuality. So
Mm,
it's like just the house of like fun and pleasure.
cute.
You have that in the sign of Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, which your sun in Libra is also ruled by Venus. So this is a big house for you in it connects to you like personally, so you love to have fun, you love to be creative, and this is in the sign of Taurus, which is all about the finer things in life. So
Mhm.
fashion is Taurus, the best quality art supplies is Taurus. Like you don't want, if you're going to make art, you want it with the best stuff.
Mhm.
um, and Taurus is also pretty slow moving, so creativity might take a long time for you. Like if you get started on a project, you're not doing it overnight. You're doing it slowly and methodically to get the most out of it, which is really fun. And then that can also apply to other areas of that chart of that house.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah, it's a really you have like a very pleasure oriented sign in a very pleasure oriented house, because the house is all about having fun and Taurus is like all the best things, so it's like ooh, like you're
Look
just
at
you're having a ball over there.
that. I do like to have fun.
So then we have your sixth house. The sixth house governs health, body, routine, um, your day-to-day physical world, working under people. So like being an employee or having employees, that's involved in the sixth house. And you have that in the sign of Gemini. Um, yeah, so the most talked about sign of the zodiac for whatever reason is Gemini. I don't get it. Um, people hate Geminis, and I feel bad for my Gemini sisters, because they get slandered all the time.
Because do you think, because what do you think it means when they're like, oh, they're two-faced or whatever? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, so good question. So like the symbol of Gemini is the twins. So Gemini is all about duality. It's about doing one thing with one hand and the other with the other. So in the sixth house, you might like constantly be starting things around the house that you don't finish, or like new habits. Like you might be like, I'm getting into running, and then like kind of drop it, because Gemini is just interested in everything, but it's not really passionate about one thing. um it's also like it's very mental and cerebral. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is our mind and how we're thinking. So it might like the idea of working out more than actually working out, or like the idea of setting a routine more than actually doing the routine that you're setting. So I think when people have heavy Gemini, people are like, I don't even know who they are. Like they act this way sometimes and another way sometimes, or that they're gossipy. One thing that when I was researching your chart, that said like you might like to gossip in the workplace because the sixth is the workplace, and Gemini is a bit of a gossip. But it's not like a mean-spirited sign at all. It doesn't intentionally mean to hurt anyone. It just is interested in everybody.
It's true. That is very accurate. I do like I don't even like to say that it's gossip. I just like to talk about things.
Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't you? I think Gemini is fun, and also Gemini is funny. Like Gemini is like comedy. It's some like really good friends are Gemini because they just want to have fun. Like I have just some like really fun friends that are Geminis. But also if like for example, one of our friends from high school, Allie, she has a Gemini sun, and her whole life she's been like, I don't relate to it at all. I like everyone's always like, oh, you're a Gemini, and she's like, I don't see it, like I don't get it. And I looked at her chart, and it's because she has Gemini in the eighth house, which is the house that's connected with Scorpio. And she also has a Scorpio rising. And then she also has like a stellium in the eighth house, which means 3 or more planets. And you have one of those too, which we'll get to. But basically, she had all of this energy in Scorpio, but filtered through the sign of Gemini. And I was like, well, duh, like Gemini just kind of gets dispersed everywhere because it's interested in everything. It's not very powerful because it's distracted. It's ADHD. It's like if you have it in like the 10th house, which is where you have your sun, you come across as extremely Libra because it's in your public house, which is the 10th house. And your sun loves the 10th house because that's the house that it governs. So it's like shining so bright, like you're so Libra. But hers was hidden in this like corner house in the house of death. Like it was like, no wonder you don't like Gemini. Like you're barely a Gemini.
So interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, that's just like one way that a chart can go out. So anyway, that's my rant about Geminis and how I love them. I love all the signs. I think, yeah, there's if I just get so annoyed when people are judgmental of people's zodiacs, because I'm like, unless you have put in the hours and you've met every Gemini sun, you don't even know what you're talking about.
That's true though. I mean, it's true. You can't judge anyone just from their sign.
Yeah, it's hard. It's fun to judge people by their sign, but it's just not like very astrologically sound.
Right.
But anyway, that's your sixth house. It's empty. It's ruled by Mercury, which is in your ninth house of religion and law and philosophy. I don't know if you see a connection there, but I couldn't really make a connection out of that.
Not really.
um,
Not really.
but yeah, it's fun. The sixth house is connected to Virgo. I love a Virgo. Um, but yeah, you don't have too much going on there.
Yeah. No, yeah, when I was reading
So
that, like, nah.
yeah, yeah. It's just not very exciting because it's literally about like chores. Like
Yeah, it's like,
chores just aren't very exciting.
no. If I
No
can
one's like, oh, I finally see myself because you told me I have a moon in the sixth house of chores. It's like, not really.
it's like, okay, I'm done, I guess.
Yes. Okay, so the next house is the house that everybody wants to be talking about.
Mhm.
So many people get into astrology just to understand the seventh house, which is the house of partnerships. So it's the house of your romantic partner, your best friend, your business partner, close one-on-one connections. But typically marriage is like the big seventh house issue. Um, so you have that in the sign of Cancer, and you have your moon in this house. So I also have my moon in the seventh house. It's
Oh.
so annoying.
Oh no.
Because we are the type of people that just really need, like, a one-on-one connection is pretty central to our relationship with relationships. Like we really want to be someone's partner,
Yeah.
because the moon is how you feel. It's your most sensitive part. It's your intuition. um, and then you have that in the sign of Cancer, which is what the moon rules. So your moon is really happy to be in that sign, because it's really at home there. But it really intensifies the themes of the moon, which are
Awesome.
emotions, sensitivity, nurturing, motherhood, like the sign that just wants to take care of everybody. Um, you have that energy like really intensified and in your like most romantic house. So
Oh, for the love of God.
yeah. So partnership is just like really important to you.
Ew.
Uh,
Okay.
which is so annoying. I feel the exact same way. I think people with this placement in general, and I have seen it in a few of my friends that are really, I think would relate to, like, they really want to be loved, blah blah blah, but but that is, unless their sun is right there, which it's not for you, it's square your sun.
Mm,
um your sun is yourself and your moon is your emotions,
right.
and a square is a not great relationship. They're always at odds. So your self and your moon, your emotions, are always like, I want to do this, I don't want to do that. Like your sun is like, think about yourself, think about your career. Your moon is like, I don't care, I just want a boyfriend. It's like
Oh my God. That is so annoyingly true. I hate that.
yeah, I mean, it's also, it's literally like your house of career, which is your 10th house, versus your relationships,
Uh,
and your like public image versus your like inner, like on the inside you're like such a softie because you have this stupid Cancer moon that just makes you want to take care of people.
yeah, what the heck,
um
Cancer moon? Jeez.
yeah. um but yeah, I mean, I love Cancer energy. This is just like such a sweet position, which I think is making us both like stick our tongues out. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, we're like,
because I think when you have that like gooey center, you're like very protective of it.
mhm.
And Cancer is a really protective sign. It's the mothering sign. It doesn't want anyone to hurt it or anyone it loves. And it's also in like this lovely relationship with Venus. So you're just like even more of a romantic.
Awesome.
Um, and your Venus is in the sign of Scorpio, which is also really romantic. So you have this love is like a huge theme in your life, and your ability to romanticize people or fall into
Uh,
love like when you're not,
uh,
when you should be smarter than that, is like a big theme in your chart.
oh no. I'm literally this is so oh, this is annoying. This is
It
truly
is really annoying, especially it's so funny because every single Capricorn rising has a Cancer moon.
really
And the chart is set up that way where the signs across from each other are opposite energy almost. So Capricorn is like I care about what people think of me. I want to be the smartest in the room. I want to go the furthest. I want to prove to myself that I'm worth it. And then that's your outside. And
Right.
then your inside is like this, like, oh, like gooey, like just wants to hold everybody and like hold someone's hand. Like,
Oh my
like,
God.
they're really at odds with each other, which is how everyone's chart is. Everyone has, I think what's so cool about astrology, I was talking to a friend about it and they were reading one of the books I have and they were like, it just feels like everything contradicts each other. And I was like, yeah, because like being alive is so contradictory. Like
Uh,
we all have those big themes in our lives where we're like, and it's different for everybody, but we have that theme of like, I want this, but I also want this, and that's the complete opposite, and they don't go along, but they're both huge parts of me. And what's cool about astrology is you can kind of look at those relationships and see why that is.
uh,
So that's a big tension in your life is like this like softness and this ambition.
that is so true. Like literally every day, because obviously, as everyone knows, I've been very focused on like my career, my job, whatever is going on. But then this stupid thing in the back of my mind will be like, oh, but what about this? And it's like, can you go away? Oh no, that literally
So
just
funny.
makes sense. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but I love it. I mean, I just love a water sign moon. It just, the moon is already so emotional, and then a water sign is a water sign. So, um, you
Amazing.
have a lot of water sign energy. You have, well, you just have so much Scorpio. It's absurd, but we'll get there. Which is so funny. Have you ever like identified with Scorpio stuff? Like,
I don't know
I've,
if I honestly ever even looked at it because I was like,
right,
oh, this
that's
isn't
not
anything
you.
I can free. Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, well, we'll get there when we get there. But spoiler alert, keep listening because Marissa's a secret Scorpio.
Woohoo!
um, okay, so seventh house, we kind of killed that guy. The eighth house, okay, I've talked about this a couple of times. I've said it's the house of death, and that sounds really scary. In reality, it's the house of anything anyone doesn't want to talk about. So the shorthand is like death, sex, and taxes. But it's not the same sex as the fifth house, which is all about fun. The eighth house is like 50 Shades of Grey. It's like
Oh,
taboos, it's like desire, it's the house of Scorpio. So it's about like death and transformation and intensity, and it's also taxes and other people's money. It's just anything that like makes you kind of uncomfortable,
yeah.
kind of relates to the eighth house in some way. So you don't have a lot going on there. Cool. Um, it's it's ruled by Leo, which is kind of just a funny sign there because Leo is all about attention in the spotlight,
Yeah.
and then the eighth house is all about stuff that people don't want in the spotlight. Um, so there's just, I think that's another tension in your chart is that you have all these like pretty little areas, and then you have like really intense areas. Um, that maybe you don't even like want to think about in your own self, like you don't want to consider it, but it's there. So I just think that's kind of funny. Leo is ruled by the sun. That's why Leo sons like Joe or our best friend, our mutual best friend Lauren is a Leo. They shine so brightly
Yeah.
because the sun is really at home in Leo because it rules each other. So it's like, it's Leos are going to love this, but Leos are like the best sun sign because the
Mm,
sun is at home there.
right.
So for you, your 10th house of your public self and your career is somehow connected to this eighth house of
Oh.
sex, death, and taxes. Don't know how, but that's just something for you to ponder.
Interesting. Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah, I don't know. The eighth house and the 12th house are so complicated, and every astrologer believes something different and crazy about it. So
Mm,
I just try to say, like, do with this what you will. I
yeah.
will say I was giving a reading to somebody and they had Saturn in the eighth house. And I was like, oh my gosh. And this was one of the people that I didn't know very well. And
Oh,
I was like, ooh, because Saturn's the worst planet. And then the eighth house is the worst, not the worst house, the 12th house is the worst house, but it's really bad. And
yeah.
I was like, I don't know how to tell this person this, like, that they have like maybe someone's like this is like the house of death, and a lot of times people are like that's metaphorical, that's metaphorical. So I was like, okay. So I did this reading, and I was talking, and I was like, okay, well, I don't want to freak you out, but this is the house of death, and you do have like Saturn there. And they're like, oh yeah, a lot of my family has died. And I was like,
Oh
it was like, okay, so it's not metaphorical then. I'm sorry.
no. It's completely accurate, actually.
It's not. Okay, so that's death then. That's, I guess, astrology is real. I don't, oh, whoa.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so I like, anyway, as a beginner astrologer like I am, I don't want to ever say something crazy
Right.
like death is going to be a huge theme in your life. So it
Right.
was really validating to hear that back before I even like said anything
Yeah.
really specific about it. So
Wow.
anyway, that's just in astrology's crazy story. um,
Yeah, jeez.
yeah, but you have an empty eighth house, so no crazy tax evasion is in your future.
Yay. Well, that's good. Also,
Yeah,
Joe takes it back with his big three. He's
yeah.
the Leo sun, Pisces moon, and Libra rising.
Pisces.
Is that
Pisces.
what we said? Oh
Yeah.
my God. That's iconic. What the
I
heck?
love that. Your brother is like a really big part of your chart. Literally, he's your third house of siblings is Joe. It should just
Wow. That's insane.
isn't that so crazy? That's same with my sister. I have my third house is in the sign of Sagittarius, which is my sister's sign.
Oh my God. What the
Yeah,
heck?
it's so
That's
crazy.
that's like kind of scary.
I know, it's wild. It's written in the stars, babe.
Wow. Wow.
So next we have your ninth house. I love the ninth house. It is foreign travel.
Mm,
It is higher education. So if the third house was elementary school, this is college, this is grad school, this is a PhD.
gotcha.
It's religion, philosophy, law, just like these big concepts that are that you can learn about, that you can sit in a class and learn about.
Mhm.
So some people consider astrology to be ninth house. Some people consider it to be 11th house. But it's like foreign travel, foreign language, foreign relations. One of my housemates was a foreign relations studies major, and she's going to law school, and she has a stellium in the ninth house.
Whoa.
And in the sign of Libra, which is the sign of justice and balance, which is like the symbol of the law, which is the scales.
Yeah.
So it was like, wow, being a lawyer is like part of her destiny. So cool.
Oh, that's cute.
I
Oh.
know. So you have this ninth house in Virgo, and you have your Mercury here and your North Node in this house. So I famously have only ever been in love with Virgos. I'm obsessed with Virgo energy. Virgos are um, a little bit anxious, a little bit obsessive in general, a little neurotic. They are warriors by nature. They love to please. They love like service. I have Virgo ruling my 11th house of friendships. And I would say 99% of my best friends are in like the healthcare industry, the psychology industry,
Mhm.
or well, nursing is healthcare. So
Yeah,
like literally like people taking care of people is very Virgo.
right.
Um, you have Mercury here, and Mercury actually rules Virgo. So this is one of your stronger placements. And
Oh.
Mercury is how you communicate. So you love a list. This is a really good placement for like journalers, for writing in general, because Virgo and Mercury are all about writing. Um, it's like taking care of people through communication, and communicating in kind of detail oriented ways, but also anxiety. This is a signature of anxiety, because Virgo is really worried and Mercury is the mind, so your mind is worried. um, and it's in this ninth house of foreign relations, law, philosophy, so like these kind of big concepts. So you also have your North Node in this ninth house and in the sign of Virgo. And the North Node is a really cool astrological component that a lot of people don't know about. Have you ever heard of the North Node?
No, like literally never.
Okay, yeah. So the North Node is different in different kinds of astrology, but there's this kind of theory, and this is kind of more woo than other things that I'll talk about, but it's this theory that wherever your North Node is what you were born, the lesson you were born to learn. So this is generational in that pretty much everybody born in 1997 and 1998, so my year, we're both 97, but anyone our age or a year below us have this North Node in Virgo. And I could be like fudging those years if someone's like really mad that I said the wrong years. I'm sorry. And we all have it in Virgo. And what it's saying is that in the past life, the sign opposite Virgo, Pisces, is the lesson that we mastered. So we mastered Pisces energy. We know how to be spiritual. We know how to be in the clouds. We know how to be connected to spirit, how to be creative. That comes naturally to us. But in this life, we have to learn the opposite. We have to come down to earth. We have to understand how to have a body. We have to understand how to have a routine. We have to understand how to live in a physical world instead of a spiritual world. And the way that I've really seen this manifest is that, and maybe this is just talking to any woman in their mid-30s, but we all tend to have like some serious like trouble understanding our bodies, like visualizing, feeling a part of it, feeling centered with it, having a routine that honors it, feeling comfortable in the physical world. And I've seen that manifested in different ways, but it's always that same like core kind of just general confusion over having a body.
Yeah.
And like what it means to like look in a mirror and see a person instead of like completely divorcing ourselves from our bodies.
Right.
Which I just think is really interesting, and most people have really connected with that. You have that in the 9th house, which is, like I said, big concepts, higher education. I don't really know what to do with that information, but you have it now, so you can do your own journaling on it with your Mercury and Virgo. But yeah, I think what I read online, and I think I put in the Google Doc that I wrote up for you. Whenever I do like a chart, I always write beforehand to organize stuff and look stuff up. But it said like writing down your routine can really help you like feel a part of it or like centralize yourself. So like with Virgo, it's all about writing already. So like coming down to earth and writing about your experience on earth is like a really way for you to center yourself in this journey.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I like that because I
Yeah.
do it all the time. I literally write in my planner all the time.
Yes. Having a planner is so Mercury Virgo, like so Mercury Virgo.
Well, and I even got like this new notes thing that's like my laptop's on it, but like literally it shows like hour by hour where I can look up things to do.
I love it.
Wow.
Love it.
Wow. That's insane.
But yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, I love Mercury so much. I have a stellium in the 3rd house, which is and I have it in Capricorn. So I'm with you on the Capricorn energy sometimes of being really tough on myself and really having a hard time with maturity areas and stuff like that. I hate rules and responsibilities, but I constantly like deal with that.
Right.
And I just love Mercury. I just love it's all about like mental activity and word games, and I think it's such a fun planet. And it's also a planet. Some planets are good and some planets are bad. And Mercury is just like I do what I want. Like Mercury is a trickster. Mercury like can go either way. So it's fun energy.
Interesting.
And it's what rules Gemini, which is part of why like I think Gemini has that like funny reputation to it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So 10th house, next house. This is a big one. They say the most important houses are the 1st, which is who you are, the 4th, which is where you come from, the 7th, which is who you're with, and the 10th, which is what you do. So it's your career, it's your public life, it's your relationship with publicity. Like a cool celebrity understanding of this is both Kris Jenner and Kylie Jenner have Leo 10th houses, and they have their moon there. So like for them, like fame, which is Leo, is like their career. Their career is fame, and it's where their emotions are tied to. So like they need it. Like these women are like born to be famous.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, it's looking up celebrity charts is so interesting. Like we talked about Saturn returns earlier, and that's like when you're 29 and you're like dealing with the themes of Saturn, which are like rules, responsibility, reputation.
Right.
That's when Taylor Swift wrote the album Reputation. Like it was during that period of her life, and you can really hear like in those songs like this struggle with like who she is and what people want from her, and that is so Saturn return. So
that's really interesting.
I know. I think it's so cool, and it's literally called Reputation. Like it's called
what
Saturn word. I don't know. I do think some celebrities do have astrologers, like Ariana Grande, like definitely does, because she uses like moon imagery all the time, and she's a Cancer, so like Cancer and the moon is really connected.
Oh, that's
yeah. I love my pop queens.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So for you, your 10th house is in Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. Libra is all about beauty. It's all about balance. It's all about peace and justice. You have your sun here, so this is where you shine. Sun in the 10th house means you're a career woman. You need like a career is like where your ego is, like you have this drive to succeed, and with that Capricorn rising too, it's really there. Like you want to succeed. And one thing I was picking up on in your chart is this tension between this kind of privacy that's really important to you, and this like almost like calling to be in the public eye, because the 10th house is the public life, and that's where your sun is. Like you shine in the public life, and Libra is all about beauty. So the fashion industry, or graphic design, advertising, making things beautiful, is really connected to your career. But it's in contrast with your next house, which is where you have a ton of stuff happening, but it's in the sign of Scorpio, which is the most private house, or private sign rather. So you have this tension between like you could be like a big name, like that's inside of you kind of know that. And even just like having a podcast, I think is like you're like, okay, listen to me talk, bitches. Like,
make me famous.
But yeah, and like I think even your interest, like you have always had like an interest in pop culture and like and fame and stuff like that, and just like knowing who's famous. I think that's 10th house. That's sun in the 10th.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I think, yeah, definitely sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll just be like this quiet girl who has her job and no one knows about her. And then, yeah, I literally have a podcast. I'm like, everyone listen to my podcast and post about it. And like,
yeah,
that's so
I
interesting.
love it. I have Leo in my 10th house, and Leo is like, it's really similar to having sun in the 10th. It's like low key, I want to be famous.
I think we should be.
I think we do. I think we'd be good at it.
I agree.
And I've always had that. Like, I don't know if you did this, but like when I was little, I would like pretend I was giving interviews all the time, and I would like prep for interviews.
I love that.
Like practice in my head, like, and I like didn't even know what I wanted to be famous for. Like I wasn't sure if it was like for writing or like being an actress or something, but I'd be like, well, when I'm on NPR, they're really gonna need to know.
I love that. What the heck? I think maybe we were born to be famous.
I mean, I think it's out there. And with your Scorpio on the 11th, we could really do it. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's get into this one.
So this is if you could see Marissa's chart, I don't know if this is gonna be a video or not, but so Marissa has like 2 planets in her 2nd house of money. She has 2 things happening in her 9th house. And then we get to the 11th house, which is in the sign of Scorpio. And it's the house that governs our friendships and groups that we're a part of. So like if you went to a church, your congregation would be 11th house. If you were famous, your fans would be your 11th house. You have so much happening here. You have 2 planets. You have your midheaven, and you have the asteroid Chiron. Or Chiron. It might be Chiron. As soon as I said that, I'm like, I hope nobody ever hears me say that again. It's definitely Chiron.
Okay, I'll edit it out.
Yeah, please. um, so you have all of this in the sign of Scorpio, which is really intense. Um, so first off, what I can see immediately is just that friendships are really an important and intense relationship for you. I can't remember if we were on the pod yet or not, but I was talking about how so many of your friends are water signs.
Oh yeah.
I all of the friends that I can think of for you, like that I knew from high school, or like myself included, including our mutual best friend Lauren that I mentioned. She is a Cancer rising.
Okay, yeah, then it's probably every single one of my friends.
Yeah. Yeah, and then your brother is a Cancer moon, or a Pisces moon. That's a water sign. So you just have this like water friendship connection. You attract these really emotional, complex friends that have a lot going on with them.
That is
and,
facts.
and your relationship to them really impacts a lot of things. So you have Venus there, which is social connections, it's romance, it's aesthetics, which is in Scorpio. So, like a grunge aesthetic meeting your Libra sun, which is a floral aesthetic. I just remember when Jess was, I literally am referencing like every episode of the podcast. But when Jessica was on, she was like, I would describe your style as like half floral and half grunge. And looking at your chart, it's literally like Venus and Scorpio, but then Sun and Libra.
That's
Which is like
insane.
Libra is like feminine, it's flowers,
Uh-huh.
it's skirts and dresses, and then Scorpio is like Kurt Cobain, like
Uh-huh.
Nirvana t-shirt, ripped jeans, like, and then you have both sides of that to your public how you present yourself.
That's insane.
I
Okay.
know. So what could also that mean is that you tend to fall in love with your friends a lot, or your lovers could start as friends, like you like that friendship base, or
Mhm.
they end as friends. Either way, you really like have this friendship connection with your partners. You have Mars here. Mars is sexuality. So that's all in Scorpio. That's an intense to have Venus and Mars so close means that it's an intensely like kind of romantic connection. To have that in Scorpio further intensifies that. So you have this really powerful connection with people. um, you have your midheaven here, which is really related to the 10th house in that it's your ambitions, and it's like it's where you get awards, like it's where you get praise, or where you get like recognition. You have that in related to your friendships, so like working with friends, or you and a friend getting recognized together. It's really wrapped up there. And then to have that in Scorpio again just gives you this intense drive, which is all over the Capricorn rising, the 10th house sun. But a midheaven in Scorpio just gives you this intense focus, because Scorpio is just it's really passionate in this intense way, in this kind of driven, self-focused way.
Mhm.
Still really emotional, still really deep, but has this obsessive quality to it. And then you have that asteroid Chiron. So the asteroid Chiron is another more woo thing, similar with the North Node, where it's called the wounded healer. So they say it's the area of your chart where you experienced some trauma, some early childhood or early adulthood issue that you carry with you for your whole life. But while it's weighing you down, you use it to help other people. So
Oh,
it's like it's a talent, but like a painful talent. It's for me, I have it in the first house of self. Like I have this really complex relationship with myself,
mhm.
but I think that I'm really good at other people with the same problem. It's kind of like you're able to see other people in a way that you can't see it in yourself. So you have that in your 11th house of friendship. So healing friends, or helping people through their own friendship trauma.
Mhm.
But yeah, just like intense friendships is really like a driving factor in your life,
Yeah.
and a way that connects everything, because Mars rules Scorpio and Aries, so it connects with your home and your family.
Mm.
Venus rules Libra and Taurus, so that connects with your public life, your career, and your creativity. Um, so creative friends, friends that bring out the creative side of you, friends that bring out the intense side of you, the mystical side of you, because Scorpio is a psychic sign.
Ooh.
Um, Having friends that like astrology, 11th house, having friends that like tarot, like Maddie, like friends that want to dive into that side of life,
Yeah.
um, and push you to join them. And then also maybe friends that are traumatized or that carry a lot of emotional baggage that you help them with and they help you with, but that's like a significant factor in some of your more meaningful friendships.
Wow. That is crazy. um, accurate. Yep. Like
You
literally,
have all these water signs crying all the time in your
I
life.
know. I'm like, I guess I gotta help.
But yeah, I mean, it's also really cool. I think I think friendships are they're such an important part of life that get like society really praises like romantic connections, but they don't always praise friendship connections or like validate how emotional those connections can be
Yeah.
and how traumatizing some of them can be. Like a friendship breakup can hurt way more than a casual hookup.
Oh, yeah,
If
for sure.
Yeah, if that friend is someone that you really have poured your heart and time into,
Mhm.
um, those losses are really important and really shaping who we are. So I think it's cool when I see someone that like has such an impactful area related to friends, because I think that's just like, friends do affect your life so deeply.
True. True. Very true.
Um, Yeah. And then the last house is similar to the eighth house, which is death, sex, and taxes. This is the house of the unknown. So it's
Awesome.
almost like I hate that it's the last one, because it's like I always end on this like headache kind of, because it
Right.
governs like isolation, prison, disease,
Mm.
desolation, self-sabotage, self-undoing, secrets, enemies, like all this like
Jesus.
crazy stuff. And that's just like I'm self-taught. So this is like the information that I'm getting from other sources, right? And all of them contradict each other.
Awesome.
Literally, like when I was on a walk right before I did this, one of my favorite astrology podcasts called The Ghost of a Podcast. I really highly recommend. Um, to people that are interested in astrology. She did one just about the 12th house, and she was like, all this stuff is so confusing. And I'm like, I know. And she's like, it's just what your mother went through before you were born. And I'm like, what does
What?
that mean? Like everything I learned about this house just makes it more confusing. It drives me so crazy. But so I don't know what to tell you here. You have Pluto here, which is a really intense planet.
Cool.
Um, so sure, who knows what that means? I Maybe it means you'll go to prison. I don't know.
That's
Probably, probably not. But who's to say?
oh no.
I'm maybe I don't know. Just kidding. You're not going to prison, but it does kind of what I can indicate there is just that you have an intense inner world that is really private to you.
Mm,
Your emotions are something that you don't like to share easily,
mhm.
or like the darker parts of you make you uncomfortable. You have it in the sign of Sagittarius, which I could not make heads or tails of when I was looking stuff up, because Sagittarius is like travel and excitement, and then it's in this 12th house of like isolation. I was like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that's weird.
Sorry, like I wish I could help. um, do you have any Sagittarius enemies?
I don't even think I know a Sag.
Yeah,
I
my
don't think,
sister, but I wouldn't describe you as enemies.
yeah, no. I mean, I think I want to say Cody Co is a Sagittarius, but that would make me sad. Also,
Yeah, well,
I think possibly my friend Riley is a Sag. But we're like friends, so
Yeah.
I don't feel like he's my enemy.
Well, mine's in Libra, and Libras are not my enemy, so I don't know.
That's interesting.
But yeah, so that's the birth chart.
Wow.
That's the basics of it. Uh, there's uh planets and signs and houses, and they interact with each other um
Yeah.
depending on the angle of the chart or where they are.
Mhm.
um yeah, do you
Yeah,
have any questions? Did any of that like bring up something crazy that you like need to discuss
I know,
or
God.
learn about
I know,
um
that's insane. Like, I feel like I'm gonna just have to read it more, but honestly, like, all of it seemed just accurate. Like, I feel like I could see every single thing that you were saying, and I was like, "Oh."
right, right. And stuff will develop with time, I think. I've seen that a lot in like in tweets and stuff. I know astrology Twitter is great if you've ever encountered it. But people were talking about like how like they were like a few years ago I was like this doesn't make any sense, and now I'm like in my 30s and I'm like yeah, because once Saturn return happens you're just like your chart is more complete kind of, and some of the areas that you don't really get like the Capricorn rising or my Capricorn stellium I think are just going to become clearer with time
Yeah.
because it's an annoying slow moving planet.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, more and more, like, the more that we talked about my Capricorn rising, I was like, okay, okay, like, I guess that's true.
Right. It's just it's so hard to judge things off memes, like meme Instagram, like astrology Instagrams
Yeah.
are so funny and some of them are so true. But then sometimes it's like, well, this person knows three things about each sign and they just keep saying it, which is like, I don't know, like Scorpios are uh my ex is a Scorpio, and Libras can't make decisions, and Tauruses want pizza like weird stuff like that. That
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well that's like sure you have this one stereotype, but like can you even explain like why that exists? Because like that takes not studying. Um but yeah, so I turned on transits if you want to see like where the planets are right now and how
Yeah.
that can be
Yeah.
affecting you. So the moon moves really fast, and we know that because every month we have a full moon and a new moon in different signs.
Right.
So we just had a full moon in Virgo, and it's already in Scorpio.
Holy crap.
So every 2 days it changes signs. And then next month the full moon will be in Scorpio.
Hmm.
So the sun moves a month at a time, which we know because of sun signs. So when someone says that they're a Pisces, we know that they were born around March
Right.
because that's where the sun is. So here's the sun on the chart. It's in the middle of Pisces right now.
Hmm.
And it's accompanied by the planet Venus and the planet Neptune. So Neptune's really slow. Neptune's been in Pisces for a long time.
Oh.
But Venus is going to come really close to it really soon. And that's going to be a cool transit because our planet of creativity and our planet of love is going to be like right next to each other. And that's going to make some really cool energy. And it's going to be in the sign of Pisces, which is like spirituality, creativity, romantic feelings. So that's going to be really fun. That's coming up soon.
Oh.
Um, we just had that big stellium in Aquarius last month, and that's breaking up now.
Hmm.
But Saturn is going to be here for about 2 more years. So Saturn entered on December 21st. We had the Great Conjunction when Saturn and Jupiter were in the same place. And wherever that hit, so for you as your second house of money, that's kind of like an area of focus for the next couple of years.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah, so there's going to be ups and downs because it's Saturn, it's a Saturn transit, but with Jupiter there, this year is like a good year for it. It's gonna get tougher in the future, but it'll get out of there in a couple years. It'll move somewhere else and move into your communication and mess stuff up there. So
Oh, awesome.
it's always somewhere. Um, but so you and I both just had I was talking about the Saturn return. We just had our second Jupiter return. Jupiter takes 12 years to go in a circle. So we had it when we were 12, and now we're having it at 23 and a half. It's about 12 years.
Right.
And when it crosses, it gives us an abundance of luck. So that was, I think, pretty much the week you got your new job was when you were having your Jupiter return. When I got my Jupiter return, I got the vaccine.
Nice.
On the day. And I also got into a program for next year and mine's in my 4th house of living. So I literally like figured out where I'm gonna live next year. I got all these like this good energy right there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was so cool. So if you guys are around 23, or if your birthdays come after me and Marissa, if they're happening right now, for example, your Jupiter return will happen in a couple of months. So that's something to look forward to. Figure out where Jupiter is in your chart, and you can see what area of your life that's going to affect. Uranus is a cool one. So Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. It's really disruptive, and it can disrupt you with good news or bad news, but it takes 7 years to get through a sign. So for us, Uranus is in Taurus. For you, it's in your 5th house of creativity, of children, of sex, and you have Uranus there. So you can expect the unexpected in that area for 7 years. In one of my favorite podcasts, they had people on just talking about like their last 7 years, because it was right when Uranus moved from Aries to Taurus. And one was in the house of siblings, and she literally like had to move in with her sibling and like travel the United States. And like so it just like create like stuff that you're not expecting will happen in that area. And it's disruptive for about like 7 years. For me, it's going through my 7th house of partnership. So I'm just expecting the unexpected right now.
Oh yeah, maybe you'll start dating someone.
Maybe we'll see. But yeah, so
well, I hope I don't
when yeah, I hope you don't have a child. Yeah, we'll see. But like the big news today is you can see that this is right about to step into Gemini. This is Mars. So Mars has been in Taurus for a while, and that's been interesting because Taurus is all about stability and structure, and Taurus is all about aggressive, like almost violent energy, but passionate energy. And we've seen so many protests happening with this happening, and every time this Uranus is involved, or it squares Saturn, the Uranus Saturn squares, which we're going to have 3 this year, huge riots have happened on those days, or huge corona spreads or stuff like that. So
oh crap,
it's once you start following worldly transits, because there's the transits that are happening that are affecting everybody, like Mars entering Gemini, we're all going to feel that. It's going to affect our society.
Right.
But then say someone had their sun at 0 degrees Gemini, right now Mars would be hitting it, and they would be feeling like another specific energy on top of that. So I looked up some of the transits that you're currently going through, just to help you with that. And it has to do with like where your planets are and where the planets are in the sky. So right now you have a Pluto sextile Mars. So your Pluto in the sky is here. Mars in your chart is here, and it's making an angle that is really positive. Oh. So Pluto is all about, your intensity, your focus, your psychology, and Mars is all about your drive, your passion. And Pluto moves really, really, really slowly. So anytime it's making an angle with a planet, it affects you for a long time. So this transit is going to affect you at least until June. Oh, wow. But it's a positive transit, and it means you're going to have a lot of endurance, stamina, and determination to achieve your goals. It's a good time to take up something that, like a goal that you were neglecting or you thought was too hard earlier. Right now, you have the intensity to do it. You're going to be physically and psychically stronger than normal because Pluto is that like psychological energy, and Mars is like your vitality of your strength. And this is just a really long transit. So you have this like really cool energy happening there. And then you also have Jupiter sextile your Saturn. So Jupiter's right here, your Saturn is right here. So it's that same, like they're about 2 houses apart, 3 houses apart. And so this is a shorter one because Jupiter moves faster than Pluto. This is only lasting until about March 7th, but this is another like really positive transit that you're going through because Jupiter is your luck and Saturn is your expectations, restrictions, stuff like that. It's what makes you succeed. So right now you have a really similar, like cautious, planned, expansive energy with career goals and work ethic working together. So you have two like really cool like areas of focus right now, energy that you can like write down your goals towards. So right now is a really good time to manifest, especially because Mars is about to enter Gemini, and Mars is our passion, it's our ambition, our endurance, going into this sign that will kind of spread it out everywhere. Right now it's been really tense. This has been really hard on everybody because Taurus is slow moving and Aries is fast moving, and together that tension is not comfortable. But Gemini is fast moving, and so is Mars. So we're about to enter this like huge energetic rush of ambition and power and focus. So right now, for you especially, is a really good time to write down your goals and like focus on those and manifest on those for a while.
Ooh, okay, let me write manifest.
You do manifest.
I love manifesting, so I'm super down to
It's
do
a really
that.
good time for it. And the new moon coming up is another really good time for it. I think the new moon is going to be it's going to be in Pisces. Yeah. So that's going to be like really potent energy. And you should tell Joe because his moon in Pisces is going to especially really like that energy. It's going to be good energy for him.
Ooh, ooh, okay, time to manifest good things only.
Yeah, good manifesting energy is coming up. So that's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I have to show you. Do you have any other questions?
No, that's amazing. Okay, so I guess when should I start manifesting like the not the new moon one, but the other one? Like soon, like now?
Yeah, I do it tonight. Yeah, you, especially for you with this Mercury and Virgo, you are a journaler and a list maker. And with your North Node so close, like your your purpose on Earth is really connected to this communication. It's connected to like coming down to Earth and making things physical. So yeah, I would do that. I would do that right now. With
Okay. Little project for me to do after this then.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd even look up maybe like a new moon ritual for the new moon because that is going to be a potent one. But yeah, you can manifest at any time. But new moon is really good manifesting energy. They say full moons is time to let go of things, and new moons are time to call things in.
Oh, that's good to know. Interesting. Yeah, sometimes I'll just do it randomly. I'll be like, I feel like manifesting.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's never bad, but if you want to work with the energy of the moon, that's what I would
Yeah.
suggest.
Oh, that's good to know. Wow.
And
This
you're very affected by the moon because you have that Cancer moon, like your moon on moon. So you probably really feel like eclipses, new moons, full moons.
Oh, that's insane. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited with all of this knowledge. I feel like I just know more about myself, which is
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun to journal about. I think if you're ever like into, if you just want to like if you ever want to just explore astrology and explore yourself, what I did was I just journaled planet by planet. So I had like a page dedicated to the sun. And I said, okay, I know I'm a Scorpio sun. I don't really know what that means. I know Scorpio means this. I know sun means that. And so I would just look up like Scorpio sun, and I would just write down anything that I felt like applied to me.
Right.
And then I say, okay, that's in my first house. What does that mean? That means my sun and my rising are the same, but like, what does that actually mean? And then so I would research all that and I would write it down. And that's really how I like learned so much of my astrology, was just using myself as an example, which everybody should do. You shouldn't just like start on somebody else.
Right.
And it helped me understand myself. And astrology is so cool because the more you learn, the more there is to learn. Like I only showed you one asteroid. I could tack on literally thousands of asteroids. You can look up hypothetical planets. Like, what does that even mean? And every time I do that, I use it on my own chart and I learn something else crazy. Like with asteroids, for example, you can look up someone's name and see where it falls on your chart. So like for me, one that is really sweet is I had a dog named Ellie that you remember. That was my best friend. Like this dog and I were deeply soul connected. And everybody loved her, and I still love her and still think about her and talk to her all the time. But when you look up the asteroid for Eleanor, which was her full name, it goes into my fourth house of family, which is just like so sweet and like feels so meant to be. And like when I saw that, I got really emotional because I was like, yeah, like she was a part of my family, and that's how, when I think about my family, I think about my dog. But like you can type in the name of your ex and see like that's in your house of enemies, and like you'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. Or your best friend's name, and that's in your house of siblings, and you're like, yeah, my best friend feels like a sibling to me. So that's just like one random thing about astrology, but there's like hundreds of other things you can do with your chart, and it is just so fun, and you learn something new about yourself every time, and it's the best feeling. I really love it.
Yeah, what the heck? Okay, well now I want to like look up all my friends and see where they are. That's
It's so fun.
interesting. Wow. Okay. Well, this was truly a jam-packed episode. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. It's a nice hour and a half, but that's like perfect because this is,
Perfect.
I mean, you couldn't have shortened it anyway, and all of it was
No, man.
interesting. No,
Yeah.
I'm
Yay. Well,
impressed.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope the audio is auditoriable, listenable.
Oh, it'll be good. It'll be. We're all amateurs over here. Amateur podcast. It's something crazy.
And if somebody listened to this and they were like, I want a reading, DM me. I would like to be paid because I'm a volunteer who gets $100 a month stipend. So, but if you just have questions about astrology, or you're getting into it and you want like recommendations on websites and podcasts and books, I would love to talk about it. I think it's
Yeah.
the best, and I love
Yeah.
hearing about charts and stuff. So please
Oh,
give me that info.
yeah.
I'm on Instagram at sarahb_moth, and I'm sure Marissa will tag me in something.
Yes, I can put all of your information in the show notes so then everyone will know where to find you. And I can also tag you on the Instagram podcast or the podcast Instagram. Go follow that if you haven't already followed that. And yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Like I said, I loved it. I think this was literally perfect, and it's everything that I'm interested in. So hopefully you guys are also interested in it. But that will be it for today's episode, and I'll see you all next week with a brand new episode. Bye. Oh my gosh. Amazing. What the heck?